Giles Peterson, and you're listening to Infusion TV. You really are.
How you doing?
I'm alright, I'm good.
Yeah?
You've caught me after my set.
Had a very good set. The floor was like bouncing, really.
Great, thank you.
Very, very good. So I just want to go straight into it, basically.
Alright.
I want to start off. The other week, I actually came across the Malo in Cuba album, and I downloaded it. And
did you pay for it?
I did pay for it, actually. I got it off your website. Oh, yeah, we're good like that. I work with DJs, so they crucify me if I didn't pay for me.
Okay.
So just basically, Malo in Cuba. On your label, and like I said, one of my personal favourites, definitely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, what was your thought process and inspiration behind this particular project?
Well, I've been lucky that I've been asked by Havana Cultura to do some projects for them out in Cuba for the last couple of years, and I did a couple of albums. And on my second album, I wanted to, rather than do a remix version of it, I wanted to do a kind of alternative version of it at the time of making the record. So I was going to be in one studio and get somebody who I was really a big admirer of to go and do his interpretation of my work in his studio. And so I'd been a fan of Malo for quite a while. I used to go to his club, DMZ, at the Crypt in Brixton, and on my nights off, that was really what inspired me out of London musically over the last few years. I was really into his approach of sound and the whole kind of tradition of sound system culture that he portrays, and I was really into all his productions, and I was kind of just a bit of a fan, really, and I just wanted to see if he'd be up for, you know, getting out of his comfort zone and joining me in Havana, and he did, and we had a really good time, and we're really delighted with the final, you know, project, really. I mean, not only was it a successful recording, but just this week we were in Paris and in London. We did the live version of the album. He had some musicians with him, and it was just great to see Malo going from being a DJ to being a performer on stage with a live band, and the whole thing just sort of stepping up. So very exciting. One of my you know, most enjoyable achievements, I suppose, in music, I'd say.
Oh, wow. Okay. And that must be quite interesting because you've been in the industry for ages.
All right. I've been here a few years. Yeah.
I mean, you started off with Pirate Radio.
Yeah.
I mean, have you always been into, you know, radio and DJing, and where did it all start for you?
Yeah, for me it was really kind of growing up in South London. My mum and dad were both from France and Switzerland, and so I wasn't really connected to the kind of British youth culture until I went to English school when I was 11. Because up until then I went to French school, and it was kind of like when I went to a kind of regular comprehensive, and you had to be part of some sort of a tribe, whether you were into heavy metal or a mod or a punk. And I was one of the 3 soul boys in my school, and I had a wedge haircut, and you know, I used to go and buy my clothes from King's Road, and you know, I was into jazz funk music, really. There was a lot of good bands in the UK and a few Pirates shows that were playing this kind of music, and it was really very obscure that I got into it and that I became so obsessed by it, and then, you know, from being a young boy, French boy living in London, I became this kind of pirate radio DJ addict, and so I got my turntables at 15, and I set up my own pirate station at 16, and I joined a couple of pirates, and I kind of kept my pirate career and my radio career in parallel. I think that was really what made club culture out of the UK quite unique, because a lot of the DJs were on the radio and we could build things, and we had a great scene, underground scene then, with weekenders, and you know, we'd travel miles to go to clubs. You know, I used to go to Canvey Island, and we'd go to sort of North London, and we'd organise coach trips, and I'd basically just, you know, be the organiser, and then eventually I became the DJ, and because I could follow, because I could get a bit of a crowd to come with me. Yeah. You know, I got bookings, and then it went from there, really. I mean, I never thought I'd be a DJ, you know, 30 years later, but you know, I'm still here, but you know, I've kept the radio and I've kept the DJing, and apart from that, you know, I run my sort of record label and do a bit of production, and you know, yeah, it's amazing. I'm still really into it. You know, I didn't think I would be. I said when I was 40, I said I was going to stop. You know, I didn't really want to be a DJ after 40. It didn't seem right, but I think I'm going to have to retire at 50 now.
But if you retire, what are you going to do?
I don't know. I enjoy things. I mean, you know, I've had a brilliant run, and you know, it's so good. And I think one of the reasons that I managed to kind of sort of survive in a way was because, first of all, I was part of the DJs that were around before Acid House came, and so we have a certain legendary status purely by being survivors, and also because I was travelling a lot when I was younger, because actually, apart from London and maybe Bristol, Brighton, you know, the rest of the UK wasn't that interested in what I was playing.
Right.
And so I was playing in Paris and in Germany a lot when I was like 18, 19, 20. And in a way, the international thing was something that was also very much a part of what I did, you know, kind of representing British youth culture, and you know, the Japanese love that, or you know, the Americans love that I could come there and play what was kind of, you know, happening on the underground in London. And because London is such a incredibly influential place with regards to music and fashion and culture, it was something that was, you know, that I kind of, you know, acted as an ambassador in a way.
Yeah. Okay. And just going back to your point on, you know, the fact that, you know, London is kind of filled with all these awesome musical, you know, different talents and genres. Is there anyone in particular at the moment who's kind of caught your eye, who you potentially might like to work with in the future, or?
Well, there's always great people. I mean, at the moment, of course, you had the dubstep and you had the kind of the Mallers and people at Benga, and they've taken it to a more kind of mainstream sort of place. And then out of dubstep, you had a lot of the more, I'd say, arty electronic music, you know, groups like Mount Kimby and James Blake and all of that, and that's been quite amazing to see how they've grown. And on the other side, people like Fortet, who's gone on to become a kind of, you know, stadium-filling electronic DJ, and so all these guys are doing so well, and electronic music's become so sort of global. You know, dance music's not just about, you know, Ibiza, really. You know, there's so much more to it. I like going to Ibiza. I play with Carl Cox every year, and I like to do different scenes a little bit myself, so I can kind of catch the energy from different places. But I'd say at the moment, there's also some really good bands I'm really into at the moment, you know. I mean, if I was to tell you who I'm really into, I'd probably be giving away a couple of my secrets, you know, because I want to sign them.
Promise you won't tell anyone.
But you know, maybe in a few months.
Okay,
Watch
cool.
the label.
Now, talk about your labels. You've got Brownswood.
Yeah.
And you also have Talking Loud?
Well, I had Talking Loud,
Talking Loud, okay.
Yeah, that
so
was my label.
Tell us about Talking Loud. How did that come about?
Yeah, well, I mean, before Talking Loud, I had a label called Acid Jazz, and they celebrated their, I think, 25th anniversary this year. I mean, I founded it, and you know, of course, that label brought groups like the Brand New Heavies and Jamiroquai and Galliano and quite a lot of others. And then I wanted to kind of represent a wider scope of what was happening on the underground. So I felt that I was restricted to Acid Jazz a little bit. So I wanted to set up something, which is why I set up Talking Loud, and that brought MJ Cole and Ronnie Size, Represent, DJ Crust, Carl Craig, Nuyorican Soul. We had some good times, you know, Courtney Pine, Galliano, Incognito, Omar. So that was like 10 years of my life, and pretty hardcore, you know. We were working with Universal at the time, and that was a major label, so there was quite a lot to deal with in that way, which is good learning for me. But after that, I wanted to concentrate more on the radio and you know, maybe be less of the record label and more of the creative side. So I put more emphasis on me as a DJ after that. So I went to Radio 1, and then after a couple of years of that, I wanted to set up a label again, but independently, which is when I set up Brownswood. Right,
okay. And you, well, recently moved to BBC 6.
Yeah, I'm on 6 Music now.
Yeah, 6 Music. How is that going?
It's amazing. It's so good. I'm very lucky to have got out of Radio 1 at the right time, really, for me, because in a way they were sort of, you know, they were super with me, and I was very privileged to be working on that station because it's like world renowned. But it was definitely time to let the youth come through, and they like to emphasise that at Radio 1, that it's aimed for a very young audience. And I think most of the DJs who kind of go through Radio 1, they're lucky if they can manage to kind of pop over to a Radio 2 or somewhere like Trevor Nelson's done it really well, and I was just lucky that Six Music was there, and it got created a couple of years ago, and you know, I've got a show on a Saturday afternoon, so I feel really good, and I feel privileged again to be on the BBC, because there's nothing like it anywhere in the world. And you know, my show is every Saturday on for 3 hours in the afternoon, so it's better time for me, although I miss the football because it's on the same time as the Arsenal, but there you go. But it's been great, and since I've been on, I've had such a great response, better than what I had at Radio 1.
Right.
Many more people listening to me. A lot of people who didn't listen to Radio 1 anymore kind of discovered me on 6, so yeah, man, it's good.
Awesome, cool. Alright, well, last question. Will you come back and see us in Dubai?
Yeah, I mean,
we'd love to have you back.
Oh, that's good. I mean, I love coming here. Thanks for inviting me. And you know, it's good. You know, there's people who love the music. There's been a good scene here. You know, certainly a few years ago, I used to come here quite a lot, and play at a club called Ibo.
Yep.
And that was so good. And you know, big up to all the crew who used to put that together. And it looks like you guys are sort of, you know, building the scene up again. So you know, I'm here, and you know, I'll be out. It's not far, 6 hours on the plane. You know, no problem.
Quick sleep, a couple of movies.
Exactly. You know, if you're organised, you can do it all right.
Awesome. Cool, guys. Well, you are currently watching Infusion TV, and this is Giles Peterson at Nasimi Beach. Big up.